Hello, I'm Dr. Gina Fromer, Marin Women's Hall of Fame Class of 2023. It is an honor to welcome you to the Marin Women's Hall of Fame Class of 2026 inductee interviews presented by Kaiser Permanente. In this series, we have the privilege of sitting down with this year's inductees to hear firsthand about their lives, their careers, and the remarkable journeys that have led them to this well-deserved recognition. Since 1987, the Marin Women's Hall of Fame has inducted more than 160 extraordinary women, leaders who have made a meaningful and lasting contribution to Marin County, its residents and communities far and beyond. These honorees represent excellence across diverse fields, including education, science, business, philanthropy, the arts, politics, law, philosophy, and religion. Each has been a catalyst for positive change, and it is an honor, truly an honor, to help celebrate and preserve their stories. Today, it is my pleasure to introduce Lynn Murphy, who is being inducted into the Marin Women's Hall of Fame in 2026 for her visionary work in community service. Welcome, welcome, Lynn.
Thank you, Gina. It's an honor to be here.
I am truly inspired by your story, and so let's jump right in.
Sure.
Please introduce yourself, including your name and what you do.
My name is Lynn Murphy, and I work at the San Rafael Police Department as the mental health liaison, which covers a lot of different areas. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, and I do outreach and engagement with people who are experiencing homelessness here in San Rafael. And I help the people of San Rafael also who are having any type of mental health crisis get connected to the resources that they need.
That's inspiring. I'm sure the geography, you get a chance to know more about our county and see more places and spaces.
And the work crosses over the San Rafael city line, of course, because I work with a lot of agencies that do work throughout Marin County, doing really good work, getting people into housing, into permanent supportive housing, and enriching their lives. You know, being a person who is homeless is not, it's not easy, it's not by choice. There is some belief in the general population, a myth, because they don't understand that being homeless is a choice, but it's really not. Some people say that they're homeless and it's okay, but that's really coming from a place of just mistrust of the system and not truly believing that they can actually get into housing or that they deserve housing. And so my work is to develop trusting, compassionate relationships with the people who sometimes have a mistrust. And the fact that I work for a police department and I wear a uniform is, sometimes people think that is ironic, but it actually, again, it's building these bridges amongst people who often feel so disenfranchised from society and the world at large. So it's working for a police department and wearing a uniform is also doing some education that police work isn't just about law enforcement and taking people to jail. It's about helping people, truly helping individuals elevate their quality of life, their sense of self-worth. So it's an honor to do the work.
Sounds like you're building bridges to safety and security in different sorts of ways.
And I talk about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which is, it's the triangle and it lists the different needs. And at the very bottom of that base of hierarchy of needs is the need for just food, clothing, shelter, air.
Right.
Just most fundamental things. And then above that is physical and emotional safety. And when somebody is homeless, they really don't have those things. Yeah. So once somebody gets into housing, and in Marin County we're doing an incredible job getting people into permanent supportive housing.
Wow.
Where I believe we do a biweekly count, and I think right now it's 908 people in permanent supportive housing since 2017. Then once those most basic needs are met, then they can work on finding what is their real purpose in life, because they're not worried about, is somebody going to steal my stuff? Is somebody going to attack me when I'm asleep? They can put their head down on a pillow and feel safe.
A sense of safety is a huge deal. Lynn, tell us about your upbringing and, the upbringing that helped shape who you are today. And who were the people in your life that inspired and influenced you the most?
I've thought about this a lot. It seems like such a basic question, but it got me thinking. I grew up in the East Coast in a fairly traditional, somewhat conservative, in that it was very, my family had a set of expectations and norms that you were going to be successful and make the family proud, so the expectations were pretty high. I was born in Salem, Massachusetts.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And then we moved to Huntington, Long Island when I was just a year and a half old. And so I grew up in 40 miles east of New York City. So it was the suburbs, but we had access to New York, which was pretty cool. And the person who really inspired me, which I did not know at the time, of course, but it was my mom. And she's not here any longer. Well, she's not physically here. I know she's here all around me all the time, but she had a host of physical challenges. She had cerebral palsy, she had significant hearing loss, and she couldn't drive. And so life for her was not very easy, but she never made it seem like it was hard. She just persevered, and she was an incredible scholar. She was very cerebral. She was into literature, and here I was as a kid, incredibly physically active, and my parents said I had hyperkinesia, which I think they might have made that word up, but it meant I was always active, always running around, getting into something. And I had this memory of my mom in our backyard where I really wanted to play kickball. My mom could not, she couldn't run. She walked with a significant impairment in her gait. But she went out in the backyard and we had a big red rubber ball and she played kickball with me. And at the time I just thought, that's what mom's, she's my mom. I want to play kickball. She's going to play kickball with me. But now looking back on it, it's like, that was a big deal for her. Yeah. And so she persevered through these challenges, these physical challenges, and I think that also really helped me develop real compassion for people who aren't born on third base. Right. If we're talking about baseball metaphors, right. She just persevered, and so what I take away from that is, when you have a challenge, there's always a way to get through it. You might have to be creative. You might have to struggle for a little bit before you find the way to overcome that obstacle. And I think that's kind of carried through to this work that I do with helping people who sometimes are really at their bottom. Yeah. For some folks.
Lynn, I feel your heart, and I sense your resilience, and I see where that comes from a strong mom who, in your story, that lived experience matters because you're working in community. So thank you for sharing that. Can you tell us about an important learning in your life that you believe has been key to your success?
You never give up. You have to be creative in whatever it is you're doing. And I find that as I get older, I keep learning this, or it gets reinforced more and more, that things are often hard. And you find a way to come up with a solution. And you work with the people who are around you. Growing up, it was also being very independent and self-assured, not self-assured, being self-directed was a really important family value, that you accomplished whatever you wanted to accomplish on your own and through your own hard work. And it wasn't really taught to us in our family that you really thrive by seeking help and asking for help and asking for advice and seeking counsel. And as I've gotten older, I have no qualms about seeking counsel, asking for somebody else's ideas, and not being afraid to say, I'm really stuck, I'm not sure what to do. What do you think? How can we solve this problem? Asking for help and being willing to accept it.
That's great. That's great. It's definitely exemplified in your work that you do today. Do you see that in the community as you're sharing?
Oh, well, and I try to model that, because for some people who are used to being on the margins, they are used to going it alone.
Yeah.
You know, they're living outdoors, they're finding a way to feed themselves, they're finding a place to sleep, they're doing it on their own. And I want to model that it's okay to ask for help and to be open to that and to trust. Building that trust amongst people is huge.
Yeah, that bridge can be short, it can be long, but the other side of that is definitely rewarding. So, tell us about what you have learned about mentorship and being a mentor.
Yeah. Well, this kind of falls in line with this. You don't go it alone. You don't have to go by yourself. You'll actually be more successful if you find a mentor. And I realized this when I was in college, and I was going through a hard time. We had some family illness, and I had to go back and forth to take care of my dad. So I was leaving school to, take my dad to the hospital because my mom couldn't drive. And I was working in an office on campus, and one of the managers who worked in the office said, how are you doing? And I told him what was going on with my dad, and he reached out to the dean of students. Her name was Dean Karen Blank. And one day I got a phone call from her, and I was kind of shocked, like, why is Dean Blank calling me? And she said, I'm just reaching out because I heard that, things are kind of tough at home, and I wanted to make sure that academically, do you need any support? Do you need any help? And I was just so shocked that somebody in her position would reach out to me and ask how I was doing. And that gesture really made an impact on me. And I actually accepted the help. I needed some extensions on some classwork. And it was then that I realized, it's okay to say I actually do need some help.
Right.
And thank you for reaching out and asking. And so now I kind of use Karen Blank as she's like a guiding angel as well as my mom, reaching out and asking some person who looks like they might not be having a great day, or somebody who I see all the time and says they don't want help, but then really sitting down and asking them, are you sure there isn't anything you can,
Right.
can I go, get you a sandwich at least? So.
Yeah, breaking down barriers constantly.
Oh, yeah.
Clawing away at those barriers.
And building connections, building relationships, building trust.
Yeah. It's a hard job. And it's rewarding, but it's hard because I think successes are many, and the ones that are not successful are hard.
It's true. It's true. And success is, it's all relative. So
Correct.
Success with one person might be, we now have a conversation.
The sandwich.
We can have a conversation, and they don't just say, I'm fine, leave me alone.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk to anybody.
Yeah.
It's, how are you? What, I'm not feeling great, or I'm doing great. My daughter came and we had a really nice visit at a coffee shop. So that is success.
Yeah.
It's not just getting somebody into housing, it's kind of restoring humanity.
Yes, that's beautiful.
And I think right now that's really important.
Yeah, yes it is, I agree. I'm sure that those who are watching this interview have been very inspired by your professional accomplishments and your personal commitments to the community. I'd love for you to share with us what inspires Lynn. What makes Lynn tick?
Well, I'm definitely a people person. I like people. And I'm a Libra, not to get all woo-woo, but the Libra sign are the scales. And so it's really important to me that things are fair. And so I work towards building, even if it's just in our little city of Sanderville, things that are fair for people. Growing up, I named myself the DOJ, the Defender of Justice. Yeah, where's my cape?
Yay!
And that was mainly because my mom, I felt like people could be really cruel, and cruel things were said to my mom or said to me about my mom, and I always felt like I had to, be her defender.
I was thinking about the image of the cape.
Yeah.
And how the Marin Women's Hall of Fame have all the women, they should be wearing capes. I was visualizing that, and that's suiting for your story, and being the defender, the DOJ, for your mom. That's inspiring.
Yeah.
Given your experiences and achievements, what are your hopes for the community of Marin, particularly San Rafael, and what are some of the hopes and needs you would like to see addressed?
Well, a big part of my job is doing education for people who have some ideas about what being homeless is or why somebody is homeless, breaking down that misinformation and doing education about, somebody becomes homeless not because of one choice or one event. It's usually a series of dominoes that fall, that lead to somebody being on the street.
Right.
So breaking down these stereotypes about who homeless people are, and modeling compassionate behavior for people who are really struggling, and making it okay to, just go over and talk to somebody and say, how are you? How, happy holidays.
Right, because people are people, right?
We're all people. We're all just, and there but for the grace of God go I. I think that, and I feel really lucky, that I have a home. My 3 kids are, doing well, and they are, being launched into adulthood, and I feel lucky, but one never knows. This is what I've learned doing this work, and talking to family members from all over the country who have a child or a sibling who is homeless, and hearing the stories, of how somebody ended up being homeless, and hearing about what they were like as a kid and what they did for fun, and building the connections with their family members, and maintaining those connections even after a family member has passed.
Yeah.
So that mom whose son died knows that I'm still a connection for her if she wants to talk about him.
Yes.
And that his memory lives on.
Amazing. You said something about giving their humanity back. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, I think sometimes people see somebody, whether they're under a blanket on the sidewalk or they're panhandling. It's almost like because they're homeless, they are less than. It's some moral failing.
Right.
And you have no idea how that person got to be in that situation.
Right.
And so treating them like you would if they were your child, and being compassionate. And I think in Marin we're pretty good with that. I think we have a lot of people doing really good work, and so that's modeled quite a bit. And treating each other with mutual respect and compassion.
So important.
Sometimes that compassion piece gets left behind.
I'm sure you see it every day.
Yeah.
Your story is so rich with so many accomplishments, and if you had to choose one area of focus that your legacy had impacted the most, what would it be?
I would say building real friendships with people on the street, and kind of being their guide on a journey from wherever they started, whether it was sleeping under the freeway or sleeping in a park, and guiding them in their journey into housing, and then watching them blossom from that. And it's so cool when I can go into somebody's home after they've settled in and they show me the art that they're putting up in the wall, or books that they have, and seeing their life just kind of blossom. Rebirth. So it's not just this survival.
Right.
But seeing them, become who they are meant to be.
That's beautiful. Last question. What is that pen all about? On this beautiful pen.
I work for the city of San Rafael in the police department, and the city of San Rafael gave these out a couple of years ago. It's a City with a Mission pride pin, and so I wear this as a proud employee of the city of San Rafael and as a proud gay woman.
That's beautiful.
Thank you for asking.
Yes. Are there any last words you would want the community of Marin to know about you, and why don't you share that?
I would say it's not really so much about me, but right now it's a hard time to be working in social services, and people ask, well, how's it going? How do you do it? And I like to say that when you feel like things are dark and things might not be going as you want it to be, and it seems dark, I'm telling this to myself too a lot, which is to go be the light. Go bring the light
I love that.
into a place that might seem dark. Bring that light, and then others will bring that light as well. When you light up their lives, then they have light to shine as well.
That's what light does, right? Thank you, Lynn Murphy, for sharing stories from your remarkable life and your work with us, and about your mom. It was really heartfelt. We all see your heart. And thank you to our viewers for tuning in to the YWCA Marin Women's Hall of Fame Class of 2026 inductee interviews presented by Kaiser Permanente. To learn more about the YWCA Marin Women's Hall of Fame and our honorees, please visit the YWCA Golden Gate Silicon Valley webpage at www.yourywca.org. Thank you.